Was Absalom actually the hero and David the villain? Hold on, before you hit that back button, hear me out, because what I'm about to tell you is going to flip everything you thought you knew about one of the Bible's most infamous rebels. Absalom didn't wake up one day and decide to betray his father. He waited years, watching justice die in silence, watching his sister's rapist walk free, watching the man who was supposed to be a man after God's own heart do absolutely nothing. Today, we're diving into the story of the Bible's most attractive rebel and why he had to die. We're talking about a beautiful prince who became a dangerous demagogue, a protector who turned into a predator, a son who tried to steal his father's throne and ended up hanging from a tree by his own hair. Yeah, you heard that right. His hair killed him. This is the Absalom story, and trust me, it's messier, darker, and more relevant than you ever imagined. Let's go. These are the types of content I create. If you're interested, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss upcoming videos. Alright, so who is this guy? Absalom was King David's third son. His mother, Maacah, daughter of King Talmai of Geshur. So this kid had royal blood on both sides. He wasn't just any prince, he was the prince. The energy was super strong with this dude. And the Bible makes a big deal about his appearance. Check out 2 Samuel 14:25-26. In all Israel, there was not a man so highly praised for his handsome appearance as Absalom. From the top of his head to the sole of his foot, there was no blemish in him. Whenever he cut the hair of his head, he used to cut his hair once a year because it became too heavy for him. He would weigh it, and its weight was 200 shekels by the royal standard. 200 shekels? That's about 5 pounds of hair, people. 5 pounds. For sure, your whole body will tremble, your brain will explode, and you will definitely be blown away if you learn that. This man's hair weighed as much as a newborn baby. He was so beautiful, so perfect, that the Bible dedicates entire verses just to describe his looks. But here's the thing, and this is crucial. Absalom wasn't just handsome, he was different from his brothers. He had charisma, he had charm. He had that it factor that made people stop and stare. He was the kind of guy who could walk into a room and everyone would turn their heads. And you know what? That was both his greatest weapon and his deadliest curse. Because beauty and privilege don't make you a rebel. Trauma does. The trauma origin story. Let's talk about Tamar, Absalom's sister, the forgotten victim in this story. 2 Samuel 13 tells us that Absalom's half-brother Amnon, David's firstborn son, the heir to the throne, raped Tamar violently, brutally, and then, in a twisted display of cruelty, he threw her out like garbage. 2 Samuel 13:15 says, "Then Amnon hated her with intense hatred. In fact, he hated her more than he had loved her." Can you imagine? She was raped by her own brother and then discarded like trash. And here's the gut punch. David found out. 2 Samuel 13:21 says, "When King David heard all this, he was furious, furious, furious." But you know what he didn't do? Anything. David did nothing. No punishment, no prosecution, no justice. Amnon walked free. And Tamar, she disappeared from the story. 2 Samuel 13:20 says she lived in her brother Absalom's house, a desolate woman. Desolate. That's the last word we hear about her. You're scrolling through content like you're digging through a junk drawer, hoping to find gold, but all you're getting is rusty paper clips and expired coupons. Meanwhile, we're over here sitting on a treasure chest of stories so good, they'll make you the legend of your next group chat. Your time is currency. Stop spending it on trash. Start investing it here. Meanwhile, Absalom watched. He took his sister in, he comforted her, and 2 Samuel 13:22 says, Absalom never said a word to Amnon, either good or bad. He hated Amnon because he had disgraced his sister Tamar. Did you catch that? Absalom hated Amnon, but he said nothing for 2 years, 730 days of silence, 730 days of planning, 730 days of waiting for his father to do the right thing, but David never did. So Absalom did what David wouldn't. He threw a party, got Amnon drunk, and then, in 2 Samuel 13:28 to 29, he gave the order, strike Amnon down. And just like that, Amnon was dead. But here's nobody talks about, and the question that haunts me, was Absalom's 2-year wait calculated genius, or was it a trauma response? Was he strategically planning the perfect revenge? Or was he a broken young man watching his sister's trauma be ignored day after day until something inside him finally snapped? When the legal system fails, what's a brother supposed to do? Where's the line between justice and vengeance? Did Absalom actually love Tamar, or did he just hate being disrespected? Because let's be real, in that culture, Tamar's rape wasn't just an assault on her, it was an assault on the family honor. It was a slap in Absalom's face, and maybe, just maybe, this was less about protecting his sister and more about wounded pride. There are those who believe in every whisper, and there are those who don't seem to bother much. The question is, what can we gain from this? We'll never know for sure. But here's what we do know. He started as a protector. But when did he become something else? If you want to expand your thinking and deepen your understanding, come and let's delve together into meaningful studies and find the answer to the question, is it true? So Absalom kills Amnon and flees to Geshur. He stays there for 3 years. Eventually, through some political maneuvering by Joab, Absalom is allowed to return to Jerusalem. However, the king gave orders that Absalom should not live in the palace. I don't want to see him, the king said. So Absalom lived in his own house and did not appear before the king. David refuses to see him for 2 more years. Can you imagine? Your father brings you back but won't even look at you? That's not forgiveness. That's torture. Finally, in 2 Samuel 14:33, Absalom forces a meeting. And when Joab won't come to him, he burned the fields of Joab solely to arrange a meeting with David. And David welcomed him and kissed him. But the damage is done. Something has changed in Absalom. And what happens next is absolutely chilling. Think of us as the vault most people don't even know exists. We're not on the main floor with the everyday stuff. We're underground, behind a hidden door, stocked with stories so rare they'll make you question everything you thought you knew. You're here because you have the combination. That hunger for depth, that refusal to accept surface answers. We didn't give you that. You walked in with it. We're just opening the vault and saying, help yourself. Absalom provided himself with a chariot and horses and with 50 men to run ahead of him. He would get up early and stand by the side of the road leading to the city gate. Whenever anyone came with a complaint to be placed before the king for a decision, Absalom would call out to him, "What town are you from?" He would answer, "Your servant is from one of the tribes of Israel." Then Absalom would say to him, "Look, your claims are valid and proper, but there is no representative of the king to hear you." And Absalom would add, "If only I were appointed judge in the land. Then everyone who has a complaint or case could come to me, and I would see that they received justice." Also, whenever anyone approached him to bow down before him, Absalom would reach out his hand, take hold of him, and kiss him. Absalom behaved in this way toward all the Israelites who came to the king asking for justice. And so he stole the hearts of the people of Israel. Read that again. He stole the hearts of the people. This next part changed everything for me. This wasn't a military coup. This was a charm offensive. Absalom stood at the gate. listened to people's problems, validated their pain, promised them better justice, kissed them, made them feel seen. Sound familiar? This is ancient Israel's first populist demagogue. He was running the oldest playbook in politics: exploit legitimate grievances, undermine the current system, position yourself as the people's champion, and promise them everything. Absalom was the Bible's first influencer king. He weaponized his beauty, his charm, his perfect hair, his fancy chariot. He built a brand, and it worked. Most channels are panning for fool's gold and shallow streams, shiny distractions that turn to dust in your hands. We're drilling deep into rich veins of stories, so pure, so captivating, you'll strike gold every single time. You can keep sifting through gravel, hoping to find something worthwhile, or you can mine where we know the treasure is buried. Doing nothing is just choosing to stay broke. But here's where it gets dark, because Absalom didn't just want to be a better leader than David, he wanted to destroy David. When Absalom finally rebels and takes Jerusalem, yes, he enters and controls Jerusalem for a short time, but only because David evacuated the city. His rule there was brief, and he does something absolutely horrifying. On the advice of his counselor Ahithophel, they pitched a tent for Absalom on the roof, and he slept with his father's concubines in the sight of all Israel. You got that? He publicly raped his father's concubines. Wait, what? This is the same man who killed Amnon for raping Tamar, the same man who supposedly defended his sister's honor, and now he's committing sexual violence? Was Absalom ever really about justice, or was it always about power? Was his vanity his downfall or his weapon? Did he use his looks to manipulate people, or did his narcissism blind him to his own moral corruption? Here's the uncomfortable truth. Absalom was addicted to approval. Standing at the gate, stealing hearts, soaking in the validation, he needed it. And like every charismatic leader who mistakes applause for authority, he confused being liked with being right. So here's the billion-shekel question. Was his rebellion actually justified? Just go ahead and check it out. What's the worst that could happen, right? Don't be a chicken. The moral paradox. Let's get real for a second, because this is where the story gets really uncomfortable. What if Absalom's rebellion was justified? Think about it. David committed adultery with Bathsheba, murdered her husband Uriah, failed to protect Tamar, failed to punish Amnon. By biblical standards, had David forfeited his right to rule? And here's the kicker, 2 Samuel 12:10-11. Right after the Bathsheba incident, the prophet Nathan tells David, "Now therefore, the sword will never depart from your house, because you despised me and took the wife of Uriah the Hittite to be your own. This is what the Lord says, out of your own household I am going to bring calamity on you." So, was Absalom just the instrument of God's judgment on David? Was he a pawn in divine retribution? Where's the justice in that? And can we talk about the Bathsheba-Tamar connection? Because here's what nobody wants to say out loud. David had a pattern of passivity when confronted with sexual sin. He took Bathsheba, silence from his conscience, until Nathan confronted him. Amnon raped Tamar, fury, but no action. Did David's guilt over his own sexual violence paralyze him when his son committed the same crime? Absalom waited 730 days to kill Amnon. He stole the hearts of Israel. He turned a nation against its king. But his downfall? It's unbelievable. And it all comes down to vanity, pride, and 5 pounds of hair. Part 2 drops soon. And I'm telling you, the way this story ends will leave you speechless. Smash that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because Absalom's final chapter is messier, darker, and more tragic than anything you've ever heard.